Well, hello and welcome back to ratedcrazy.com. I'm Sarah Orr and I'm here to read you my newest blog. I hope you love it. Basically, this blog is a great example of how far I will go for a good story. So I hope you enjoy it because it was very painful for me to go through this. This is called Nothing is More Important Than Masturbation. Not all of my genius ideas are harmless or even beneficial to myself. Sometimes they don't even require lying or dramatics. Every now and then, I have an idea that only requires one drastic action. I have a faint line that's pretty hard to cross, but leave it to me to push my own boundaries. It was the summer of 2007. I was having drinks with my friends Lauren and Bryn at a bar called Ryan's Pub in the East Village. Lauren lived in Brooklyn at the time. Apparently, landlords out there play by their own set of rules. Lauren came home one day to find her landlord in her bedroom holding a pair of her dirty underwear. Lauren is the only person I know who would let someone get away with this in exchange for Xanax. He had offered her a pill now and then in the past, but now she could have a handful whenever she wanted. She just had to call him up and remind him about the panty incident. Lauren had about 12 pills, so while the three of us sat on the patio finishing off a pitcher of margaritas, we popped Xanax like they were Tic Tacs. I've always had an extremely high tolerance for prescription drugs. I believe it's because I truly should be medicated. Anyways, when the pitcher was done, the three of us looked at each other wondering what we should do next. It was 8:30 on a Monday night and we were already shit-faced. We took turns shooting out ideas, but nothing sounded too appealing. Finally, Bryn announced something we could all get on board with. Let's get tattoos. We were around the corner from St. Mark's Place, which is lined with tattoo parlors. At the time, it seemed like the perfectly logical thing to do. I'm in, I said. Me too, Lauren agreed. We should get BSL tattooed on our asses, Bryn exclaimed. Lauren and I both looked at Bryn like she was retarded. Bryn is the type of person who needs constant reassurance. She thought having our names in some way tattooed on each other would prove we really liked her and wanted to be best friends forever. You're an idiot, I replied. I'm going to get a heart on the top of my ass. Let's all get hearts on the top of our asses, Bryn exclaimed. I'm going to get a star on my hip, Lauren announced. Fine, Sarah and I will get hearts on our asses, Bryn said, hoping to change Lauren's mind. You're not getting the same tattoo I am, I said to Bryn as she looked at me like I had just killed her firstborn. Before Bryn could say what we both knew she was thinking, Lauren beat her to it. Don't even think about getting the same tattoo I am. You guys are so mean, Bryn whined, pretending like she was about to cry. In the year I knew Bryn, she had pretended to be on the edge of tears hundreds of times, but I had yet to see her shed a single one. Needless to say, Lauren and I completely ignored her dramatics. Why don't you get LSB on your ass? I said sarcastically as Lauren and I laughed. Whatever, you're a cunt. I'll pick something out when we get there, Bryn pouted. We spent the next hour trying to figure out what 20% added to our check divided by 3 equaled. Around 10 p.m., we slowly got up and stumbled to the closest tattoo parlor. When we got inside, both the tattoo artists were busy. Lauren and I sat on a beat-up purple velvet couch while Bryn violently browsed through thousands of samples. Less than 3 minutes later, Bryn walked up to us and said, I can't find anything good. They all suck. We've been here for like 2 seconds. You couldn't have looked through all of them, I replied. There's nothing I want. I'm not doing it if there's no significance behind it. Bryn had no interest in doing anything if it wasn't her way. What are you talking about? We can always say, remember the time we were fucked up on Xanax and got tattoos? I said. Bryn thought for a moment, but realized I was full of shit. A few minutes minutes later, Lauren walked up to the counter and asked how much longer it would be. I could tell she was starting to have second thoughts. She came back and announced, "It's going to be another half hour. I think we should just do it another day." "Yeah, let's do it another day," Bryn said, happy to jump on any bandwagon that didn't involve getting tattoos. I knew if we didn't do it now, we never would. The night was taking a downward spiral. Suddenly, I was struck with another one of my genius ideas. Unfortunately, due to the mass quantities of Xanax and alcohol I had consumed earlier, my genius was questionable. "You're both babies. If you're not going to get tattoos, then I'm going to get my clit pierced." I had already had my tongue, nipple, and belly button pierced at one time or another, and it seemed like the logical choice. I wasn't going to let the night be a complete waste. Plus, I knew it would make for a great story. I remembered how much attention I got for getting my nipple pierced in high school. My mind was made up. Bryn and Lauren both looked at me in shock. I was already eating this up, and I hadn't even had a needle stuck through my vagina yet. "You're not gonna do it," Lauren said. "Oh yeah? Watch me." I got up, marched over to the counter. "Hi, we've decided not to get tattoos, but I would like to have my clit pierced instead," I said to the heavily tattooed and pierced blue-haired man at the counter. "Okay, great. I can take you now." "Great. Do you have any jewelry that has a pink gem?" I asked, scanning the jewelry display under the glass counter. My nipple was the only piercing I had kept, and I thought it'd be cute if my nipple and vagina had matching jewelry. "The only thing I can pierce you with is this," he said, holding up a plain, sterling silver banana bell with a look I normally give Bryn. "Okay, let me just go in the bathroom and we can do this," I said. With a look of determination, I walked over to Lauren and Bryn and told them, "I'm going to go check out my vagina before I put it on display." They both looked back at me, speechless. I walked into the restroom and took a look at my vagina. In the excitement of things, I had forgotten it had been a few days since my vagina had seen the likes of a razor. I also couldn't remember if I showered that day. I quickly tried to spruce it up, splashing it with some water from the sink and patting it down with a paper towel. I would have preferred to be a little more pussy-ready, but decided it could be worse. I could have an ugly vagina, and even if it was a little scruffy, it was still cute as a button. I came out of the bathroom and the blue-haired man was already setting up. The three of us walked inside the tiny room, and suddenly my plans got derailed. "You can't have anyone else in here," the blue-haired man said as he pulled out 2 stirrups from under the piercing table. Lauren and Bryn stared at the stirrups in horror and looked back at me like I had completely lost my mind. I was devastated. Half of the shock value was them actually seeing it happen. "Please, can at least one of them stay?" I pleaded, motioning to Lauren as Bryn looked at me with contempt. "Sorry, it's for sanitary purposes. It's New York State law." I didn't think it made much sense. Lauren and Bryn looked 100 times more sanitary than he did. His blue hair was all matted, and it looked like he showered less than I did. "Do you still want to do it?" the blue-haired man asked. "Sarah, maybe you shouldn't," Lauren interjected. Bryn didn't have anything to say. It was obvious she was still pissed about me choosing Lauren. "I'm doing it. I'll see you guys in a minute," I said, closing the door behind them. "Just remove your pants and underwear and have a seat on the table," the blue-haired man instructed, like he was giving directions to the nearest subway station. I waited for a moment to see if he was going to give me some privacy, but he just sat there. I turned around and pulled off my pants and underwear. I don't know why I was being modest, considering I was about to be spread eagle with my vagina an inch away from his face. I climbed up on the table and put my feet in the stirrups. He rolled his chair over in between my legs, holding a blue marker matching the color of his hair. "I'm going to place it through the hood, right above the clitoris. That way you don't risk losing any sensation," he said, grabbing a hand mirror to show me the blue dot on my vagina. "Looks good." I really had no clue if it looked good, but I just wanted to get it over with. He grabbed a small clamp and secured it to my hood. On the count of 3, I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale out. I had enough experience with piercings to know the second I exhaled, a big metal needle was going straight through my vagina. 1, 2, 3. Holy shit! I screamed in bloody murder. It felt like an angry chihuahua bit off a piece of my vagina. I have an extremely high pain tolerance and rarely scream, but I had never experienced anything like this. It hurt so bad I was afraid he had accidentally tore off my hood like a piece of loose leaf paper. Even 4 Xanax and a pitcher of margaritas couldn't muffle the excruciating pain I was in. In just seconds, it was over, but my vagina was still throbbing. The blue-haired man grabbed a hand mirror so I could look. I fearfully sat up and, in witnessing my vagina, exclaimed, "Oh my God, it looks amazing!" I was mesmerized by the sheer beauty of it. After gazing at my vagina for the next 5 minutes, the blue-haired man forcefully pried the mirror from my hands. I carefully got dressed and made my way out of the torture chamber. Lauren and Bryn were waiting at the door. "Are you okay? Everyone heard you scream. It sounded like it hurt," Lauren said. "You're fucking nuts. I can't believe you went through with it," Bryn added. In seeing their reaction, I completely forgot about the pain. I was loving this. "You want to see it?" I asked, like a pervert parked in front of an elementary school. The 3 of us walked into the bathroom, and I was already pulling down my pants before they had even closed the door. "Look!" I exclaimed, propping one foot up on the toilet seat. The 2 of them just stared in amazement and shock, like a space alien had used my vagina as a landing pad. "You could have shaved," Bryn remarked, disgusted. "Well, I'm sorry, Bryn. I didn't exactly plan on getting my pussy pierced today." "It's not that bad. I've let guys see mine much worse," Lauren said reassuringly. Lauren had slept with enough men to fill up Yankee Stadium, and based on a lot of her stories, I knew she was telling the truth. "You want to go get a drink?" I asked, starting to feel the pain set back in. They both agreed. I paid the blue-haired man, and we headed around the corner to Poorhouse. I waddled down the block like I had just participated in a gangbang. Once we got there, it took me 20 minutes to figure out how to sit on a bar stool. But after a couple drinks, I couldn't feel my vagina anymore. As we sat there, Bryn and Lauren went on and on about how they couldn't believe what had just occurred, and I became more pleased with myself by the second. In the weeks and months after, we told everyone we knew about the night I pierced my vagina. I eventually had to take it out because it got in the way of my masturbation. It sounded like a performance of Bring in the Noise, Bring in the Funk every time my pocket rocket got within an inch of it. I have a firm belief that nothing, no matter how good it looks or how much pain it caused to get, is worth keeping if it gets in the way of masturbation.